Hello. Right, well, I'm coming to the tail end of doing this. Today is, I think, day 7. And as you can see, I am struggling with the hair. Excuse me. So, where I am at the moment is, and let's just show you, this is done by hand, because, hold on, here we go, because I have to prove things. There we are, real paper, there we go, real paper, real hands. I shouldn't have to prove that that I'm doing this by hand, but you know the world we're in, and it sort of pees me off. Now, this may be a quicker video than what I normally do. I'm aiming it to be, because I need some daylight, and it's a bit cloudy, and it's 8 o'clock. And apparently there is some sort of heat wave going on in the UK right now. Now, I'm glad that they told me that there was a heat wave going on, because I lived through the summer of '76, and right now it is completely leaden sky grey. The blue skies that we had in '76, they were here this morning, and now they've gone. That's your weather report. Now, I was alive in 1976. I was about 4. But I lived through what people say is the summer of '76. And I can tell you now, it was absolutely glorious. What happened was, we just had this heat wave mixed with, it was happy. Now that's the thing, it was happy. There was music everywhere. Let me just get something and I'll continue talking. Hang on. I was going to show this book in a previous video, but I never got round to it. It's this, but we'll talk about it in a moment. Just settle on and try and film while I'm drawing. Now, the summer of '76, the things that I remember beyond the heat, the bad things that happened, you know, that you could say the heat affected things, was we were annoyed that the fridges in the newsagents conked out, meaning we couldn't get ice cream for a while. Something to do with the heat and the electric, and the fridges around here conked out. Another thing was, on the pavement there were standpipes, and we couldn't get the pressure of the water through the taps, so we had to fill up buckets and carry them into the house and fill the bath up for basic water. So you'd have to that was about the only thing. Another heat thing was, I was at school, and I think it would have been about 1982, and there was a heat wave then, and I remember feeling like the seat that I was sitting on, we had to go outside and draw the school, and the school was in shadow, we were in full sun, go figure. And where am I? Oh. I remember putting my hand up and saying my chair is sinking. We'd just had tarmac on the playground, and we'd put chairs on there with those little spindly legs, and it was literally sinking. And I was sitting on a sinking chair. I was told, don't be stupid, it's not sinking. My chair is sinking. And then it took the teacher and about 3 children to pull the chair out of the tarmac. And they couldn't pull it out because it was stuck. Now that's a heat wave. What we've got at the moment is it's summer. But yeah, it's completely grey over. I'm not going to show you, but you'll have to take my word for it, because if I show you, it'll show the location that I'm on, and I don't even want to show my face on these videos. Things may change when I move, and when I leave where I am now, where I've known all my life. But at the moment, I don't feel like showing my face, so let the artwork speak for itself. Now, on the summer of '76, because you'll hear a lot of people my age talking about it, it wasn't just the heat, it was the entertainment. It was so happy. I remember it being so happy back then. If you look at anything with UK news, right now they are telling you the world will explode because it's sunny. And they've brought out the big colouring pencils with reds and oranges and purples and every other colour under the sun, every other hot colour, and they're telling you that the world is going to explode. Stay inside, because being outside is dangerous, and it's sunny outside, and it's all danger with the sun. Now, if you've got a problem with the sun, fair enough. I haven't. I've got a problem with the cold. But during the time way before this, decades before this, you'd have someone like Michael Fish on the weather telling you that, well, I've got some good news today. It's going to be sunny and we're going to have a heat wave, so remember to just have some fun, and at least we've got some happiness from the grey. That's pretty much what the weather was like back then. Now it's, well, basically there's people walking around with placards saying we're doomed. Repent your sins. The end is nigh. And it's, yeah. You see, with the same with this, with what I'm doing on Ian Hunter at the moment, and really what I've got to do on this is I've got to shade that down so it doesn't look too sharp. That's harder than you think. It's got to be softer, and then I've got to work on here. If it wasn't for this video, I think I'd be playing my Switch. But I'll do the video and then I'll see what time I've got left, just to try and put something on. But the thing about the time that Ian Hunter was in Mott the Hoople, there were some bad issues during that time. I mean, they had Vietnam, and then there was Watergate in '74, and God, someone's really pushed beyond Watergate, haven't they? It seems like such an innocuous thing that he lied. Dick Nick lied, and now you get yeah, what's happening now? But being a kid in the '70s, you'll see these documentaries that say all the 70s were the decade that taste forgot. I don't really want to swear, but there is a B word, and we should never mind the... There you go. That's what I'm thinking right now. The 70s was it was brilliant to be a child. Actually, I'm worried about children now, about what they're growing up with. Because what I grew up with, I'd run home from school and watch cartoons. And during the time of Mott the Hoople, and Mott the Hoople were around before I came into the world, but during the time that they were recording, music was currency. It seems so strange to say it now, but these people shaped your life and your mindset way better than anything on social media. These people, Ian Hunter is one of them. When he sung All the Young Dudes, or Golden Age of Rock and Roll, we were all listening. And the music is still good. I love this music. I will stay in the 70s forever. More so than the 80s. I like the 80s. I've watched a few 80s movies today. In between doing this, I had a bit of free time. I watched a couple of 80s movies. I still like the 80s, and it goes back to the time when I was a teenager, but my heart is in the 70s. And music was something that it shaped us. It shaped our mindset. Politics was boring. Politics still is boring. But we know quite a lot more than we did back then with that kind of thing. But there's still the constant thing on TV where it's, oh, for God's sake, would you stop yapping on? And you watch morning TV. We didn't have morning TV. We had morning radio. And what was on the radio? Music. I went to school. I remember so many times where it was, I'd just say to my mum, can we hold off going to school at the moment? I just want to hear this song. And she just goes, yeah, all right. Okay, you'll just hear that one song and then we've got to go because you'll be late. Now, I never liked school. I went on the very first day that I went to school. I begrudgingly went, and then when I came home for dinner, because you could do that then, you could go home for dinner, and the schools are very close where I live, so coming home for dinner was pretty easy. My mum would pick me up from the gates, and we'd walk home, and I'd have some food, and then go back home, go back to school. Well, the first time, no one told me that I'd need to go back in the afternoon. And it was, all right, okay, I'll go to school. There you are, I've done it. And it came to dinner time, and I got home, and Mum said, you've got to go to school again. Huh? I've already been. Well, you've got to go. You've got to go in the afternoon as well. How long's this going on for? Until you're 16. No one told me that. Well, I kicked up a stink. And I'll tell you now that I've just passed the anniversary of leaving school in 1988. And when I left, I did a happy dance outside the school gates. Senior school was terrible for me. It was full of bullies. And really, I should have been doing something in a stage school or that kind of thing, and there wasn't that around where I am. But the thing is about the school, let me just move away from this for a moment. Let me just show you this. Now, this book was around 1993, I won't be able to show you all of it, but it's got the charts in it. So it's the start of the charts in the 60s, I think. No, 50s. Goes with the 50s. And then we get up to, let's say, my birthday. Here we are. I hope this can pick up. So, come on. So this is what I came into the world with. Focus. Can you see it? Metal Guru. Vincent, Don McLean. California Man, The Move. Elton John. Rocket Man, Rockin' Robin. Take Me Back Home. So that's Slade. This is what I was... White Shade of Pale, Procol Harum. These are the things that I was growing up with. In America, we've got Candyman, Sammy Davis Jr. It's not picking up very well. Song Sung Blue. First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. Now you see where things are going on this? If you can focus on it. There we are. Lean on Me. So, yeah. Now we'll get to the summer of the next month. So I was alive during that. Puppy Love. Take Me Back Home. Sylvia's Mother. I Can See Clearly Now. See, this is what I was growing up with. School's Out, Alice Cooper. Then we get to the American charts. And I'm having trouble with light. I'm so sorry about this. I may have to do it later on another video. Here we are. Lean on Me. You see? Alone Again or Naturally. Layla. Eagles, Take It Easy. America. Then we get to the summer of 76. So we'll go to June 76. There we are, let's see. The Wurzels. Wings. Real Thing, You to Me Are Everything. You see where I'm going on this? Tonight's the Night. These are classics. This is disco era. See? Silly Love Songs. That's the kind of stuff that I was growing up with. I'll show it you better when I've got some more daylight. Then you've got the TV. Well, the TV comes on. And, well, we'd have the summer holidays to look forward to, which was wall-to-wall cartoons and entertainment. So the BBC would be showing things, repeats of Take Heart, and you'd have Batman, the TV series, and they'd show, sometimes they'd show on ITV you'd have Lucan, and they'd also show Beyond Westworld, which was only 6 episodes, but they'd show Beyond Westworld, and they'd show The Incredible Hulk. And there'd be films, and it was everything centred for the children who were off from school because summer holidays. Now we have This Morning every day with the supply teachers. Can't get the main cast, they're having a holiday. We get GMB. We did have Jeremy Kyle. And if you want to know what Jeremy Kyle is, it was a cheap rent version of Jerry Springer. Where I swear that the people that they interviewed, there must have been one, if it had continued, it would have been one person called Chlamydia. It was trash. And he would just shout, "You're scum!" Well, children were growing up with that. And then you had the what killed cartoons and what killed children's entertainment, and I remember this because I was part of it. I was trying to get into it. Was in the 90s they were complaining about Tom and Jerry violence. Any cartoon would be censored. Next thing, the government at the time removed toys in cereals. Well, they weren't just toys, they were free gifts, because you'd have trading cards and you'd have stickers and transfers and everything else. Any film promotion, you'd have a something. Like Superman would come in and you'd have a set of Superman transfers. So that was Superman 78. Superman came out. Or Jaws 3, Jaws 3D. You'd have a 3D scene on the back of a box of shredded wheat. So anybody who goes and says, well, they only put the free gifts into sugar cereals, they don't know. They're talking out of their butt. No, they had promotions in everything. I remember cereals having promotions with seed packets. So you could buy a box of shredded wheat or something, and you get a pack of seeds for the garden to attract the bees. Well, they took away the free promotions, and they took away the sweet adverts, and guess what? They were paying paying for the commercial stations to put the cartoons on. Now, if you look at TV, when children are coming home from school, they have got quiz shows, antique shows, and on a Saturday morning they have got cooking programmes and gardening programmes, and Alan Titchmarsh going, "Hey, ain't it gentle? And here's a poetry reading." I grew up in this era with Mott the Hoople. I grew up with Alice Cooper. I grew up with Tiswas. Yeah, I knew I'd get into that somewhere. I grew up with Tiswas. It shaped me. And now, every Saturday, I have bought a lot of the cartoons that I've grown up with. But I made a vested interest in doing it because I didn't have any other option. So I've imported cartoons. I've got In Chai Private Eye and Help It's the Hare Bear Bunch and Captain Caveman. But I did that because I needed to do that. But what have the children got to run home from school for now? They haven't got anything on TV. I mean, it's not like they're going to watch Kickstart or, you know, they're not going to watch. There's no equivalent of Cheggers Plays Pop, is there? Not that that was a bastion of really good programming, but there's no alternative. And now, where are the children going? Well, they're not going to watch TV if there's nothing on for them, so they're going on the internet. And they've got nothing else. And that is their only communication tool. And I grew up where music was currency. Music was something that everybody liked. And it united us. And in the 60s, you'd have protest songs. See? Protest songs. And you get Woodstock and Monterey Pop. and that help people stop the Vietnam War. So they silenced us by putting everything onto streaming and no, by physical. I mean, I'll just finish off with this. You see, I've got pretty much all the Mott the Hoople albums, and an Ian Hunter album, but I haven't got enough. So while I'm doing this, I will admit that I'm playing Foghat and Blackfoot and Montrose, as well as Slade and Sweet and Wizard and anybody else I can put on. And David Bowie if I feel like it, and I'm still in that era and I always will be. But to me, social media is, it's not a great place. It really isn't a great place, and to be honest, I'm tired. I'm really tired of drawing and putting it on social media and not getting anything. Anyway, I should be able to finish this off tomorrow or maybe Thursday. Tuesday rather. No, Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday. I may finish it about Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'll do another video and I'll show you that book in a greater detail in the next video. But this is where I am at the moment, and I've got to do quite a bit more, but I can't see what I'm doing. So, end of the day. Okay, bye.